Right, Mr. Stokes, whole exam time. Let's see if we can get it done in under 15 minutes. Speed run. Ready? Go. Why do businesses start? Those are the reasons. Pause it. Next, let's go over to the clock. I'm going to do activity. If the question asks you for activity, it wants you to answer one of these three things. If it's primary, secondary, or tertiary. Primary means gathering raw materials from the ground, or if you're a farm growing crops or rearing cattle. Secondary, you turn it into things, you make things. So you take the primary stuff, make it into something else. Tertiary, you sell what the secondary makes, or you provide a service, which is this car wash. Zoom out. Let's go over to the door under the A. Ownership. There's four types: businesses, companies, franchises, and non-profit. So businesses, sole trader, owned by one person. Here's the advantage and disadvantages. Advantage, keep the money for yourself. That means you can spend it on whatever you want. It's easy to set up because all you need to do is go to the tax man. You make all the decisions. This is an advantage because decisions will be made quicker. Disadvantages, money can be hard to obtain. This is because, remember the word because to explain, the bank doesn't trust you, doesn't know who you are, so therefore it's very difficult to get a loan. Secondly, taking holidays or illness is difficult because if you leave or you're ill to go on holiday, there's no one there to run your business unless you employ someone. And finally, you've got unlimited liability, which means when you go bankrupt, you can lose your house or your car up to the value of the debt. So if you can't pay your debt, they can come and take your personal possessions. Partnerships now, look, let's go back very quickly. Partnerships are businesses that are owned with 2 to 20 people. So advantages and disadvantages. Responsibilities can be shared and decisions can be shared. So you are responsible for half the things in your business now because your person can sort it out. Secondly, decisions can be shared, so you can get specialisation from both people, which means things could be done better. Partners can bring in more money, so the person you bring in can bring in some cash, which means you can invest into your business. It can cause arguments, however, which makes decisions take a lot longer, which delays things that are going on in your business. And they also have a limited liability. So what's the difference between a business and a company? Shares. Companies sell shares. And when you buy a share, you have a little bit of that business, you become a shareholder, you own it, and you have a vote and a dividend. A dividend is a share in the profits. So every year you have a vote on company decisions and you have a share of their profits. So, two companies, private limited companies, public limited companies. The only two words that are different is private and public, and this tells you how they sell their shares. So, private limited companies sell their shares privately to family and friends. Public limited companies sell their shares to the public on the stock exchange. So, pros and cons. There they are. Pause your video. Pros and cons. Pause your video of public limited companies. Because they're public, they can raise large amounts of cash because they can sell shares to anybody. Can be taken over. However, because anyone can buy your company through buying shares, all they need to do is buy 51% of your shares on the stock market and then they own it. It becomes theirs. Franchises. So this is where you spend money to buy an established brand. Like McDonald's, you can go and open your own McDonald's by paying them money. Here's the advantages. Pause it. Moving on. Non-profit, there's two types: social enterprises and charities. Now these are companies or businesses that are run not for profit. However, some of them do make profit, but what they do with it is they put it back into the business to reinvest. So you remember Jamie Oliver's 15 restaurant? It's a non-for-profit business, it's a social enterprise, it's there to help people, and that's what they do. Their main aim is to help people. Now what he does with the money he makes from his restaurant, 15, is he puts it back in and reinvests it to help more young people. Charities obviously don't make a profit, but they're there to help people's different needs. So, zoom out. Where we go next? Under the D, business organisation. So, we've worked out what businesses, how you start your business, what sort of business you can pick, what sort of ownership you can pick. Now we're going to look at how do you organise your business. Now, normally your company is organised this way, because don't forget sole traders and partnerships there's only one, or partnerships have 2 to 20, so it's hard to have that many people organised into these 5 sections. So number 1, what do marketing do? Those things. What do human resources do? Those things. Finance, ICT, production. Those are the 5 functions of a business organisation. If you just have a look, that's what they do. So, tip. When you're doing a question on this, you state what the department is, what they do, and then you also give an example of how they do it. So, let's have a look at finance. They monitor the money coming in and out. What's the example of how they do it? They do this by using a spreadsheet. ICT, maintenance of network by having a team of network technicians. Human resources, they hire staff by creating a job description or putting a job advert in the newspaper. Marketing, they research into the market. They do this by doing questionnaires. Okay, get the idea? Describe what they do, explain how they do it. Job done. Next, where are we going? Above the clock, framework for activity. So this means objectives. So you have a mission statement, which is a load of waffle, and it shows you the values of what the company believes in. So Tesco believe in good value for customers. Then from your mission statement, you make aims and goals. So you set 4 things, pick one of those 4 things: profit, growth, customer service, or survival. All companies, when they first start, set survival to see if they can do it. So you set your aims and goals to try and achieve your mission statement. Then you set your objectives to try and achieve your aim and goals, and they have to be SMART: specific, measurable, agreeable, realistic, time specific. So that's how you tell the difference between an objective and an aim and a goal. So you go from objectives, you set them to achieve them, you set them to achieve that. And there we go. So the big question is, why do you set objectives? Number 1, or aims or mission statements. Number 1, so everyone knows what they're doing. Number 2, gives you something to aim for. Number 3, it motivates your staff because everyone knows what they're doing. Number 4, it tells your customers what you believe in, and that's why you have a mission statement. So where are we going now? On the whiteboard, stakeholders. Here are the list of stakeholders you need to know, and here's what they're interested in. Don't forget, a stakeholder is someone who has an interest in something. So an interest in a business. Customers want those things: good service, good quality, and cheap price. So are there potential conflicts? Of course there are. Customers want good services and good cheap products. However, owners want to make loads of money, so they put the price up. That is a conflict. Customers don't want to pay high prices. Owners don't want to have cheap prices because they want to make money. Secondly, employees and employers. Employers want a good increase profits. Now, you increase profits by trying to keep your wages low. However, employees want high wages for their work. Conflict. Some examples there. Tip: whenever you're doing stakeholders, does it zoom in? No. Whenever you do stakeholders, you always say, here's my stakeholder, customers, here's what they want: good service, good quality, and cheap price. This is what happens if they don't get it. They go to other businesses. Because the exam paper is very inconsistent about what it wants you to do when it says describe. So, say the stakeholder, explain what they want, explain what happens if they don't get it. Where are we going now? Just above or below the clock and the 5 exit sign. Employees and employers. So, first, enterprise. Enterprise is doing something different to your competitors, doing something completely different. Now, why do you do this? You do it because you can beat your competitors. Your customers think their quality is much better, so you keep them. So, how can employers be enterprising? So you can change working practices, like 20% time, like Google. You can have no offices. You can have no working environment, so people just turn up whenever they like. You can have no time, so no time constraints on your work. So you could say, right, this is your work. You have this much time to do it. If you get it done in 2 weeks, you have the rest of the week off. That's the way it works. You can develop new products that are different, such as Mr. Dyson's spokeless fan, that fan with nothing in the middle of it. You can also change how the business is run. So, another popular question: how can employees help be enterprising? Well, they can take part in new projects, so they can volunteer, they can be flexible how they work, and they can contribute to discussions. Secondly, what do employers expect of employees? Punctuality and to do their job properly. Dead simple. What do employees expect of employers? Good working environment, follow health and safety laws, good pay, and to be listened to. So, what laws we got? Laws. They're all, these 4 laws, now called the Equality Act. Employment rights, sex discrimination, race relations, disability discrimination. So, sex discrimination means you can't discriminate based on gender, male or female. You can't discriminate race relations on where you're from, what ethnic background you are. And disability, you can't discriminate against anyone if they're disabled. And they're all called the Equality Act, so don't get confused on the exam. Finally, last one, missed that bit. Improving relationships. How can they improve relationships, employees and employers? Number 1, have a suggestion box. Number 2, work any way you like. within the building. Perks and reward schemes, so you're motivating your workforce by showing them that you understand why their work is good. 20% time, so 20% of their time doing a project of their own devising. 24-hour work, where they do that project for 24 hours. Of regular meetings, so you're constantly talking. Again, look at the 10-mark question answers on YouTube to show you how you answer that question. Done the laws. Next, where are we going? I believe it's under the D. No, it's up there on the light. ICT. So this is easy. What's ICT? Spreadsheets, word processing, presentation, database, internet, etc. We did David Lloyd's in lesson what they've done to improve their ICT. Why they've done it? Let's look at the pros. It's up to date. You're saving on staffing because if you've got IT, you don't have to have so many staff because they do it better. Less mistakes being made because machines don't make mistakes. Cons, expensive to buy and set up in the short term. You need to train your staff on how to use it, and it might cause job losses, which may be unethical. Which brings us nicely onto ethics and sustainability. Ethics, written and unwritten code of principles and moral values, 2 marks, dead simple. So how can you be ethical? Fair trade products, paying above minimum wage. Don't forget, don't put anything here that is law, so don't say, oh, you could be ethical by following the Sex Discrimination Act. No, that's not ethics, that's what you're supposed to do. Working with charities, sponsoring an animal. I ran out of ideas. Right, sustainability. Development which needs the needs of the present without compromising the needs of the future. So how do you do it? Energy saving light bulbs. Recycle, dumping waste correctly, turning off equipment at night. There's ways to be sustainable. Remember, we did Tesco and they do lots of things, so check your notes. Consequences of not being ethical or sustainable. Number 1, bad publicity. People won't want to come to you because they don't like you being ethical or sustainable, or not sustainable. You may be fined by the government. So if you're dumping waste incorrectly, they will fine you. May attract the right workforce, people who want to come and work for ethical and sustainable companies. There's lots of people like that. And also customers may leave to go to ethical companies. There's lots of customers who went to the Body Shop originally when it was first out because they were ethical. And there we go. Last one, external influences, competition, laws, the economy, and on the right, inflation, exchange rate, interest rates, unemployment. Those are on the right hand side, economic external influences, on the left, normal external influences. So external influences, things outside of business that it could affect. There is videos on YouTube on that already, so I'm not going to talk you through that now. And I think that's everything. Just got to do a big curtain, technique. So state and explain. You've got to use the word because, or this means that, or something like that, of that phrase, in order to get that explanation marks, those AO2 marks. Always use because as a minimum. Secondly, if you've got options questions such as should there be a sole trader, should there be a partnership, should they have small lorries or should they have refrigerated lorries? I mean, you've got A, B, C, different options. It's always the same. Advantage and disadvantage for each one. You state an advantage, you explain the advantage. You state the disadvantage, you explain the disadvantage, and then you write conclusion at the end. Always write conclusions on 10 marks. Finally, application. Business, the business, the business. Everything in that paper, even though a lot of the questions don't need to, everything has to be related to the business in that first box on the exam paper. Everything has to be related to it. If it's about ice cream, you talk about ice cream. You talk about flavours of ice cream. If it's about cereal, you talk about the types of cereal. If it's a farm, you talk about animals. If it mentions Dave owns it, you mention Dave owns it all the time. You mention Dave. If Alma works in marketing, you talk about Alma working in marketing. If it's not about the business, it'll be about any other business you've studied, and you need to look at the sheet of paper I've given you, which talks about all the businesses and which questions could possibly do. That's your exam. Left hand side of the board, the clock, then we went to A, and then we went to D, then we went to the clock over there, and then we went somewhere else, which I can't remember. Flick for the video, we went to the whiteboard for stakeholders, didn't we? I hope this will help. Thank you very much. Good luck.